Now, on a special edition of KGW News, we hear from a woman who turned her life around as the charity group that helped her opens a new shelter.
To help others know that there's hope, that there's light, that there's love, and there's a way to change your life.
And how Portland Police Bureau is responding to the Trump administration's escalation in immigration enforcement. Plus, a cultural celebration at Pioneer Courthouse Square. Portlanders had the chance today to be exposed to the ancient traditions of Tibet.
It is our time to share our values with the rest of American people.
And thanks so much for joining us on this special edition of KGW News. I'm John Adams. This afternoon, the ribbon was cut on a brand new Union Gospel Mission building in Rock Creek. The 52-unit complex named Angela's Place provides addiction recovery and transitional housing for women and children trying to escape abuse, hunger, homelessness, or addiction. Our Jake Holter brings us inside.
Angela's Place triples Union Gospel Mission's capacity to house women in trouble, and we spoke with a woman who UGM helped as part of their Women's Life Change program, and she says it turned her life around.
This is exciting, and when I came in, I got really emotional.
Around a decade ago, Sarah Tiarina spent nearly 2 years of her life living amongst the women in Union Gospel Mission's Life Change program.
It was at a place in my life where I desperately needed help and assistance and a different way of living. I had found myself in a pretty dark place and didn't know how to get out of it alone.
Tiarina was staying at UGM's old Beaverton facility. Now, this new one in Rock Creek can provide a home for up to 80 women and children with warm beds, nourishing meals, and space to rest and reflect. After 30 days, women can apply to the year-long Life Change program, which offers healing through classes and group studies that foster spiritual, emotional, and physical growth.
There was classes and teaching and allowing you to figure out what it was inside that needed to be healed. And it helped you integrate back into life in a safe place.
This new 53,000 square foot building has an education center, a children's activity center, a commercial kitchen, a counseling center, a courtyard, living rooms, and a chapel. Courtney Dodds with the mission says that the new building comes at a time when homelessness is on the rise in the Portland area.
There still is a big need, and especially for women and kids, they're extra vulnerable, and we just really want to make sure that anybody who needs a place to go has a place to go, and that's our goal here.
For those in transitional housing, they can still work at their outside job. For those in recovery, there are jobs inside the facility to help ease through the recovery process.
It turned into a complete life change for me. I go into jails, I help sponsor and mentor women. My relationship with my son, my family, everything's been restored. Healing has been possible.
Over the next 10 years, Union Gospel Mission plans to offer more than 2,000 women and children a chance at new life.
There's so much life to this building, and it hasn't even began.
And new residents can move in on September 29th. In Rock Creek, Jake Holter, KGW News.
All right, turning out to weather. We're just over a week away from the official start of fall, but it definitely had that look and feel earlier today with cool and foggy conditions around the city. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri has more on just how many summer days we have left, Joe.
Yeah, summer is the one season that I'm always sad to go. I wish we could hold on to it just a little bit longer, and we will. We're going to be seeing some changes overnight and into tomorrow morning, but by the afternoon, we'll get back to a little bit more of the sunshine. Right now, though, in downtown Portland from our Pioneer Park building camera, we're looking at a temperature of 75 degrees. Starting to see some of those clouds roll through, but again, we did start off with some foggy conditions. Now, those low stratus clouds didn't really impact us a whole lot in terms of temperature. We topped out in the low 80s, which is just above average for basically the middle part of September. Even a nice end to the Saturday along the Oregon coast with temperatures in the low 70s. But this is our next front that's going to be moving on shore here in just the next few hours. You can see those clouds increasing on the radar, picking up a little bit of some shower activity along the central and southern part of the Oregon coast. And yeah, it's going to be kind of intense early tomorrow morning, basically between let's call it 2 in the morning to about 5 o'clock in the morning. We'll be seeing some heavy downpours, maybe some rumbles of thunder, but this model is showing once we get into the later part of the morning, we start to see conditions really improve. Now, things will be pretty active along the east side of the state where we could be looking at some thunderstorms popping up basically throughout Bend and Redmond and along the Oregon and Idaho border. But coming up in my detailed forecast, John, I'll talk more about the extended forecast and let you know that there is still one sunny and relatively warm day ahead. I'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, thank you. We'll see you soon. There has been a growing focus on the things people have said largely online about Charlie Kirk's death. People in multiple fields now removed from their jobs after posting their comments. That's despite calls for calm from Utah's governor on Friday. 2 faculty members at East Tennessee State University, among several in academia facing backlash, placed on administrative leave following complaints about their online comments. And locally, a Cornelia city councilor has resigned and been placed on paid administrative leave from his teaching job following a social media post. The response at times conflicting with Kirk's own beliefs.
You should be allowed to say outrageous things. You should be allowed to say contrarian things.
The response also in the federal government, a Secret Service agent put on administrative leave with an investigation underway following comments described as inappropriate. Portland police once again emphasizing their role when it comes to immigration enforcement. The chief stressing officers do not do that kind of work in a video released on Friday morning. Alma McCarty follows up with the Bureau as to why they're releasing this now.
Please take a moment to view this important video on immigration.
Chief Bob Day in the Portland Police Bureau with a reminder Friday that PPB does not engage in immigration enforcement.
Portland police do not enforce federal immigration laws, and we also do not work with ICE to identify, arrest, or detain people just because they are undocumented.
The video, also in Spanish, points out that officers will not ask about immigration status unless it's relevant to that crime. And with so many agencies with police inscribed on their uniforms, PPB insists their officers will identify themselves.
You can tell an officer is a Portland police officer because we have a unique badge. No one else has a badge like this.
These assertions coming on the heels of ramped-up ICE operations nationwide, putting communities on edge. It's why Councilor Samir Kanal is introducing 2 ordinances, the first to write Portland's sanctuary city status into city code. In 2017, City Council adopted a resolution declaring sanctuary status and prohibiting use of city funds, personnel, or equipment to enforce federal immigration law. However, Councilor Kanal says the resolution isn't binding law. In a statement, he said, "Putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to being a sanctuary city is the least we can do, and that's why it's our first step." The second ordinance seeks to prohibit all law enforcement, including federal agents, from intentionally concealing their identities during routine operations engaging the public, and to require badges be clearly visible. Currently, there's no PPP policy preventing masks or face coverings, although officers and tactical units will sometimes wear a gas mask or face covering. PPB says there is clear policy on identification. Alma McCarty, KGW News.
And we have reached out to ICE for comment on Friday evening, but we have not yet heard back. Well, new tonight out of Vancouver, an investigation is underway after a large fire at an apartment building leaves 7 people without a home. It happened around 11:30 this morning, just off of Northeast 53rd Street and St. John's Road. Neighbors reported hearing explosions, and firefighters found heavy smoke coming from the triplex. They were able to limit the damage to a single unit, but there was heavy damage done to the attic space. One firefighter was taken to the hospital, but is stable. And a traffic alert tonight for a major interstate closure. Both lanes of I-5 will shut down tonight in Vancouver. This is so road and power crews can install transformer lines over the road. The closure is scheduled for 10 tonight until 6 tomorrow morning. During that time, use I-205 and SR 500 to get around the closure and back on I-5. The first ever Tibet Day in Portland got off to a colorful start with some traditional Tibetan dancing. The Northwest Tibetan Cultural Association hosted the event at Pioneer Courthouse Square today. It featured dog and family fun, including arts and crafts, vendors, and food booths. Organizers say there are about 800 Tibetans living in Portland, and this year they're marking the Global Year of Compassion and recognition of the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday.
We are so grateful to the American people and the government for being so generous to our community. And now it is our time to share our values with the rest of American people, the value that is based on love, compassion, and tolerance.
The Year of Compassion initiative calls on communities to embody compassion in how they teach, learn, and collaborate. They encourage people to respect each other, care for their elders, and promote world peace.
It is a hard call these days, but we should never give up and let the negative forces occupy us. The truth will prevail, the goodness will prevail in the end.
Organizers say they have a large community center in Portland that's open to anyone wanting to learn more about their culture. And in Old Town, Lansu Chinese Garden is marking a major milestone. The garden is celebrating its 25th anniversary this weekend. Events today included an artist showcase featuring opera singers and silk embroidery demonstrations. There was also a magnolia tree dedication, renaming it to the designer who shaped the garden's original layout.
Lansu actually has two meanings. Lan comes from the Chinese word for Portland, and Su is the Chinese word for Suzhou, which is our sister city in China. Our mission is to teach people about Chinese culture, and we believe that in doing so, we are helping to create more curiosity in the world, more understanding.
Sunday wraps up the events with a community ceremony. Admission for this weekend is only $6. That was the original price charged when the gardens first opened.